getting our short set up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So first thing is we get the 1 minute volume below the zero line, right? That way we know we're heading towards short section. Now all they need is a 15-minute red moon, which they have, and now you just need the RSIs to reset for entries,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we want the 15 and maybe the 3 going up and maybe the 5 going up.
Yeah,
Well,
because
getting to the top.
yeah, because first thing that all that we need to know is that the very first thing is the volume has to get below the zero line on the 1 minute, right? That shows
Yeah.
weakness. Now it has to stay there, right? So it needs to get below the zero line on the 3 minute. Now,
Hmm.
once it breaks the 1 minute, we can go to the 15-minute, look for our moon. We got our moon, right? So we know the next thing that we're going to get is a trend, but that could take 15, 45, or even an hour and a half to get there, right? Because the problem is the trade doesn't happen until the 1 hour starts to show weakness or head down, right? So if we look at
Yeah.
like I'm looking at Magic, if I look at the 1 hour money line, it just started to bend over the last hour. So it's just now
Did it
finally,
just bust green moon?
yeah, literally just,
And
yeah, after the last, um, how long? It's been a minute. But this is the first time that the 1 hour actually showed weakness, right? So now we got everything
mm,
kind of lined up for us. The 1 hour finally bent. So the RSI finally started, the money line started bending. The RSI will
mm,
follow the money line, right? But we need it to cross. It's not quite there yet. We haven't got our red moon yet, our 1 hour moon, but this is the beginning of slowdown, right? Now,
okay.
the reason why we know it's on a slowdown is because we look at the 1 minute and we know we have negative volume. We just need the
Yeah.
3 minute to get there. So now what we're doing with everybody is this, right? So let's say we're doing like right here, I'm doing a $500 bag, right?
Mm,
So my first entry is going to be when the 3 minute RSI goes from the bottom up, and then when
yeah.
it reaches the top and starts to head down, then that will be
That's
my
the
first
entry.
entry. Yeah. So that's this way the guys can start making simple entries, right? And what they're going to do is I have a $500 bag, so I'm going to enter at that time. I'm going to put 20% of my bag, right? So I put it on 20%.
Hmm.
And then all I do is I just make sure the price is below, or I click where the price is now. I just make sure it's below the price when we get to that moment. So right now, I just got to let it bounce on the 3 minute. So once I make that first entry, I'm 20% in, right?
Yeah.
Now, what I've been looking at is it's kind of for the new guys because it gives them multiple entries, but honestly, we should actually on that trade right there, we should probably be getting in 40% on the first trade. And
Hmm.
then the second trade happens when the 3 minute RSI goes all the way down, comes all the way back up, and then we buy again.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So that way, by the time you buy the second time, you're 80%, or you buy another
Yeah.
40%, you're
When the
80% in.
it does like the pullback on the move, isn't it? So you just let the pullback reset and then get back in again.
Yeah. Now that's what I've been
Mm.
working on today. Is I've been trying to figure out how to maximize the first moves, right? Because sometimes that first move can do 200%.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So if you only got 20% in, of whatever it is, you're not making as
Yeah.
much as you could if you were, because the system's designed for you to get in 100% when it's time to get in. But guys are having where they don't know if they're getting in on the right entry. So this will give them,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a beginning entry where they're like, okay, I'm putting 20% in. That's why we're only doing 20% because if they make a
Mm.
mistake, they're really not losing that much, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because then
That makes sense. Yeah.
once
What?
they're
What?
in,
What? What? Hmm.
they do a 50% stop loss and they do a 100% profit, right? And right out the gate, that's their
Hmm.
numbers. And now they're
Yeah.
set up there, right? So that's kind of like the basics of it. So that's the first move, right? So right now, the next entry for me is going to be the 3-minute top. If you go back and look, you can see that once we had the 15-minute moon, if you were buying the 3-minute tops, if you bought the first one and you were a little bit early, this without waiting for the 3-minute moon, right? So the 3-minute moon comes, you can see the RSIs at the bottom on the 3-minute, it pushes up. That was the first buy-in, which would have been way over here, which would have been at about $1.29. Yeah, I'll show you. Let me share my screen with you. So this is what we're teaching everybody right now, because this is the how to get your first trade, right? So the basis is real simple. You see my screen?
1 sec. Let me click it. It's just loading. Yeah, got it.
Okay. So here's, because I listen to the guys, and a lot of times they'll be, they're like, wow, they're watching a trade, but then they don't get in the trade because they didn't know. There's too many moving parts, even though it's like green moon, green trend, enter, right? So this is a simple entry here. You need a red moon and a red trend, and you need the 3-minute RSI to get to the top, right? So if we were doing this trade normally, here's your 15-minute, right? So here's how we would do this trade. We would be looking for a 15-minute moon, which is where we see right here, we get a 15-minute moon. I'm going to turn it yellow so we can see it. And then once the 15-minute moon comes in, you need the 15-minute RSI to go to the bottom and come up and create an entry, right? Or you need confirmation of the 3-minute. So if you go back here, you see where we have the 15-minute moon?
Yep.
At that same time, we get a 3-minute red moon. And then we get a 3-minute red trend, right? So this is the first trade that can happen, right? So when we measure that, in reality, remember that we're used to doing 100% leverage or 50% leverage, and we target taking 50% profits. So if you follow the simplicity of a red moon, a 15-minute red moon, then you get the 15-minute RSI heading down, right, which is basically our entry, right? So here is our 15-minute red moon. The 15-minute RSI is heading down. Now the 1 hour isn't heading down yet, but you have a 15-minute moon. You go to the 3-minute, and on the 3-minute, you have a 3-minute red moon and a trend. That gives them a 1.5% move. So if they were in this trade with all their bag, and they were set for 50% profits with 50% leverage, they would hit their target. Now what happens is it bounces on them, and this is what we expect. This is why we take profits and
not taking the profits, and then they're losing when they could have won.
Right, because what happens is this is the beginning of the trade, so it has to bounce at least twice to 3 times before it goes down. So the first thing is that one, we don't have the 1 hour RSI headed down. Number two, the 15-minute RSI has to push down and then reset. And then that's the trade we want to get into, right? So what we're doing now is, because guys don't know, they can't put their whole bag in because they're still learning. So what they would do is they would go based on this, right? What we look for is how to confirm that we're in a short. Well, that all comes down to the 1-minute volume. The 1-minute moon volume is below the negative line. You are now entering a short position or a short pattern, and all you needed to do is break the negative, push up, and then when it starts to head back down, that would basically confirm a short position, which would have you on an entry point somewhere over here when that 1 minute pushed up and rejected, you see? So it kind of gives you this entry point here, right? Now we know we're in a short position, right? So the 15-minute moon would have been our other notification of a short move, But what we would need it after we got the 15-minute moon was we would have needed to jump into the 3-minute area, found a red moon, 3-minute red trend, and then what we would have done when we have these two things, we would want the RSI to go down one time, bounce up, and then this would be our first entry. Which makes it where it would be over here. So what we're doing now is we're getting the guys to put in 20% either here or here, okay? And then their stop loss is 50%, and their take profit is 100%, right? Because they're only getting 20% in the beginning, we need to kind of let this run. So now the next entry is letting the 3-minute RSI go back down and then come back up again. And then when it comes back up again, this is where you would take your second entry.
Yep. I do something very similar so I've just got an alert on a BCH long. That's like what the bot's going to pick up now. So what the bot's doing is it's having a 1 hour moon, a 1 hour trend, then it's waiting for the 15-minute to hit say it's a short. So 1 hour red moon. Well, if it's a short, it just waits for the 15-minute to hit the top, and then it waits for the 3-minute to join it and the 3-minute to start crossing down like about 80, and then it says, right, that's an entry. So this is a long now. So it's got a 1 hour moon, 1 hour trend, 15 at the bottom, 3 started going up, and it's just, you hear when it just started alerting, going ding 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 ding, and that's what it's giving. But I know there's a lot of other factors that, I mean, we still haven't got a 3-minute or the other things, but that's the base stuff, and it seems to be winning more than it's losing. And when it wins quite well.
Yeah. So like here, so with the bot, okay, so you have it on BCH, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So here, BCH is actually going to pull back first, right? So when we look at BCH, we have a 1 hour green moon way back here. We got our trend, but it should be you're probably going to check the bot. The bot's probably coming up with the 1 hour BCH moon crossing down.
It looks like it's red moon, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks like it's going to cross down here. So it looks we have 1 hour BCH short here. So now it's crossing down. So you're probably getting, that's probably the alert you're getting. Now, just like this, right? As soon as that 1 hour RSI starts to head down like that, yeah, we're getting a short on there. As soon as it starts to head down, right? Now I want to show you, prior to that, if I would have been looking for a 15-minute red moon right here, here's the entry. The only thing I need to do to clarify it's a short is go to the 1 minute. Yeah, because all I want to, here's what all I need to know if it's a short is if the 1 minute volume breaks down. So here's your 15-minute.
Just got the moon.
Yeah, it comes here, 3-minute moon, 1 minute moon and trend hits. But more importantly, right here is where it breaks down negative volume. So this would be where you're looking to entry, and how you would enter is you would be looking for a bounce here. So now this is where we get negative volume on the 1 minute. So now we know we're in a short. We slide over to the 3-minute, and if we follow a very simple process of, now that we have the negative volume there, we let the 3-minute bounce, and then we take an entry right there where that money goes short again. So that's the first entry. When this 3 minutes starts to head back down, we will get it. But you also have here, you get your 3-minute moon and entry, and your RSI was at the top. So if you were paying attention, you see that your 1 minute volume goes negative right here, and you can also see that your 3-minute goes negative. So in reality, if you're moving quicker, then your entry would have been on this 3-minute red trend, and you should have been in here somewhere right here. But if you miss it, that's what we need our bots to be. As soon as that volume breaks so that's kind of what we take a look at. As soon as the volume breaks below on the 3-minute, that's the full trigger on a short.
So it just did the 1 hour red moon. So yeah, that if that moon had come in, it wouldn't have triggered this for long. But I also need to factor in the 1 minute negative volume. If it's got 1 minute, if it's got negative volume, it shouldn't ever be calling along.
Right. Exactly.
And it's a good confirmation for on the short side.
Yeah.
Don't call the short unless it's got the 1 minute negative volume.
Right. Exactly. So right there we can catch here, but let's say they don't see that. So you have the 15-minute red moon. You're watching for the volume to get negative, what you would have saw right here. And then right here, you would have saw it go negative, and you would have been buying into this big candle. So this should be your short area here, right? Plus you have a 3-minute red moon and a red trend, which would have both went to an alert, which would have put you on this top candle here, this big pullback. Now the thing about this is this pullback comes in, and if you're fast with the trade, here's another 1% move. You're doing a 50x leverage. You just made another 50. You hit your 50%, right? So let's say if you're doing a $500 bag, you're raking in $250 a trade, right? Now this rejection here, let's say you don't get into that big pullback. All you're really doing is waiting for the 3-minute RSIs to come up and start to head down. And then you got the next entry, right? So that would be the next entry, and you do 20%. Then when the 3-minute bounces up again, that's where you put in 40%. Now your total of 60. And then if there's one more bounce that comes up, then you put in the other 40%, you're in 100%, and you're taking profits now instead of 100% profits, you slide it down to 50 because you put more money in. So that way the guys can start getting entries in, and as they get entries in, then they can start adjusting their thing. So that's basically right there. Once you get that in, you should be moving. So like here, BCH is going to bounce, right? Its first pullback. This is where the guys who are looking to get in this trade, it's okay if they miss this first trade because we always have a bounce. So normally, how this first trade fell down, normally doesn't happen like that. That's like 3 out of 10, right? Or 2 out of 10. But in reality, normally it'll pull here, then it'll bounce, and then we'll get an entry over here. But this one collapsed at one time. So our first entry is going to be when this 3-minute RSI crosses back down and gives us an entry point here. It hasn't crossed yet, but it's working its way up. So that would be our first entry wherever this takes us. And then our second entry would be on the next 3-minute crossing from the top down, right? And the first one's 20%, the second one's 40, and the third one's 40, and then we're done. I think right there, because I've been testing it out, but this week we'll do live trades where we'll just do the same system over and over with the live trades. And what this also allows us to do is, if you're waiting on your entry, you're doing a 50x leverage. That means you have 50%, 0.5 area of that would be your stop loss, 0.5%. So this would be the 0.5% of your stop loss. So the beauty of it is if you get into your entry point and you see your percentage start to go above 30%, then you would put 10% of your bag in, and you would use that next 20% as a leverage. So you can kind of like cost average buy in there for yourself.
I need to ask you something actually.
Yeah.
Because I don't normally do multiple buy-ins. What I do something very similar to like when I get the 3-minute at the top, like if I'm in a move and it's pulled back, the 3 minutes gone back to the top. What I'd have done is when the 3-minute and the 5 hit the bottom, or just the 3, I'd take my profits out and wait for it to go back, and then I'll go in again. Because I'm not sure when you buy in, do you have to set a separate stop loss each time when you're just buying in?
Well, what you do is once you have your stop loss in and you start buying, then you would go in and you would just like hit edit, because it'll change slightly, right? So here, like you see,
I wasn't sure because I've done that before, and I've thought, right, I've already got my stop loss, but then my second buy-in, when it went negative, it completely took it out. And then the original was there with its own stop loss, but the second one didn't. it kind of took it out. So I'm kind of weird that I don't know that yet, isn't it?
No, no, no. It all depends if you use it. Like here's our look at magic. Come on, man. There we go. So it all depends on if you use it, right? So uh, I hate when I'm like streaming and sharing a screen. Terrible. I gotta go get my my tower back. All right. So laggy. All right, we're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. Don't worry about it. So what'll happen is when you go to buy in, like you see how this is going up by 30%. I have my stop
Yeah.
loss already set up, right? So 49,200, right? So let's say I go over here and I buy in a little bit more, right? Right. What happens is all you would do is go back and when you hit your buy-in percent, all you would do is it would be slightly off. So instead of saying like 40% or 50% negative, it'll say like 66. You know what I'm saying? Right. So here. So
Okay.
then, yeah. So here, when you buy in that little section right there, when you add more money, wow. So when I go to my edit, remember I put 50 and 200. See how it went to 49.3? So what you have to do is every time you do a buy-in, you just need to go back and type in the same numbers and confirm them again.
So, okay, because what seemed to be happening was I was getting like 2 stop losses on the screen, and that's probably because I set my take profit and stop loss before. So I think when I'm re-entering, it's seeing that I've got like a stop loss set in the section. It's saying, right, it wants another stop loss, where I need to clear that section out. They originally have the stop loss, and then if I buy in, I need to not have the stop loss set in the buy-in section.
Oh yeah.
And then
You need to you can't put the automated one. You can't put the one over here. So just make sure those are
that's what I'm gonna have to get. That was my issue.
yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, because then it was sometimes that thing will open and close on its own.
Yeah.
Like you'll place an
Okay.
order, you'll place an order and then it'll like it'll like open it and close it and you'll be like, why did you close my order?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it kind of goes on a rampage of its own. But yeah, so you can see every time you're putting in there, if you have a certain percent and you buy in, you just have to go back and just hit edit on there and just basically adjust the small numbers.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Good. Do some binds now.
Yeah. So for us, it is just, these will be how we buy in. So the first buy in right here, it would be a 20% on the top of this 3-minute RSI, right? And that's the basics. And then the second one will be the bounce of that. And then the third one would be that final bounce. And then we're shooting for a 50% profit, which is only a 1% move.
Yep.
And guys,
so 1 minute negative, confirm the short, 15-minute red moon, 15-minute red trend, 3-minute red moon and trend, and then 3-minute RSI bounce.
Yeah.
For the rest of the entries.
Yeah. So the 3 parts of it is this, right? So you want the 1 minute. So you want a 15-minute red moon. Okay. That kind of like triggers the trade possibility. The second part of the trade is the 1-hour RSI and the 15-minute RSI need to be heading down, right?
Yeah.
If you don't have that, then you can go look at your 1 minute. And if the 1 minute volume is positive, then it's letting you know it's going to be a while before this trade comes to life, right? Meaning it needs to bounce a couple times. So then once the 1 minute volume becomes negative, then you can go back, look at the 1 hour and make sure that it's starting to, go your way, right? So magic is kind of like an example of it, right? So on magic, we take a look. The first thing we wanted to see was a 15-minute moon, right? Which we got way over here, right? When we got that 15-minute moon, the RSI was coming down, so it was great. Now we go to the 1 hour to see where we're at. And at that time, the 1 hour was still going up. So it wasn't a good trade at that time. And then we go to the 1 minute because now we watch the 1 minute to find out when it's going to be a good trade. So now with the 15-minute moon over here, we're waiting for the volume to finally get down below the 0 line, which happens right here. Now at that time, the 1 hour still hasn't started to bend down, so we have to wait. So now we wait for it to come back, and we can see the final push up. And finally, when we get to this point here, we start to come down, which is where we're at right now. This first entry, the 1 hour finally started to come down. Like finally, the 1 hour finally bent down. See how the 1 hour RSI finally, well, really all that really matters is the money line. See how the money line finally came down on this last candle?
Yeah.
So now that that happened, now we know that there's a short coming. So now that the 1 hour is heading down, we go back to the 1 minute, we're clarifying negative value, which we would have saw here when we broke again negative. And all we would have done here is we would have let the negative value bounce and then come up. And when it rejected the green moon, we would have took our first entry.
Yeah.
So that would have put our first entry somewhere at this point here. Now, that's just a simple 20% of your bag right there. 20% of your bag. That's your first entry. Now you have a 50% stop loss, which is a 0.5%, right? So that's going to be right about there. So then this is your stop loss line. And now your next trade comes in when the 3 minute RSI. So here's your first entry. You need to let the 3 minute RSI come back up, which it's trying to, and then that would be our second entry. So whenever this RSI crosses back down, that's where we would be looking for that second entry.
Yep.
Now, what I've been looking at is I've been noticing that the first entry, sometimes the RSI on the 3 minute doesn't push up all the way on the second move like it's doing right now. It's real shallow.
So
And
you might
then
just to wait for it to just bounce back down.
yeah, I mean, so it's almost like, you know, instead of taking a second entry right there because it's so far down from the 1, that it's basically would say, okay, if this doesn't break above at least the 50 line, right? Like have a standard of 50 and then go down, that would be an entry. Then we don't enter below that because it's not enough volume, you know what I mean? So it's almost like we're putting ourselves at a bad position because we're buying, we want to actually be buying closer to our original entry point to increase, you know, kind of like stay at our, you know, we want to be greedy. So we want it to get closer. So at this point, we wouldn't buy the shallow bounce. We would just let it play out. And this is where I'm thinking to myself that maybe the first trade that we get into, we raise it to 40% because sometimes these trades
can be a real big one on the first push.
Right. And that way, if you're doing, let's say, a $100 bag, but you only put $40 in, right? At least at that point, it could go for 150, 200%. So you can make the same $80 that because remember, we're only trying to make $50. We're making 50% of the bag. So you could make 50% of the bag with 40% of the bag doing 100%.
Yes.
So that's what I've been looking at is like, I've been testing out the trade. So I start with 300, go to 1200, go back to 500, go to 800, go to 1500, go back. And what I'm doing is I'm testing like, okay, if these guys were just, you know, doing some, you know, not really the greatest traders in the world, but if they were kind of following a system as close as they could, what's the easiest way? So here, we wouldn't make the second trade here, but until the 3 minute breaks above the 50 line, right? Or I would say something above, maybe even, I mean, probably the 50 line. And then when it crosses down again, then we would take the second entry. And then the third entry, no matter what we do, will be when the 3 minute reaches the top. So if it goes halfway, doesn't matter. If it goes halfway, doesn't matter. It needs to go all the way up, and then we have our third and final entry. So the first entry should be 40%. The second entry should be 30%. And then the third entry should be 30%. And then at that point, we're 100% in. But let's say it only bounces twice. You have 40 and 20 or 40 and 30, you're in 70%. It does 100% move. We hit our goal.
Yep.
So that's how we're making the trade happen right now. So that's what I've been working on. So that's what we'll work on the week. This way guys can get into trades. And if they get into a bad trade and they get liquidated 50% of their 40% bag. So if they have 10 bucks, it's only $2.
Yeah.
So you can literally get liquidated 5 times before you lose the whole $10.
Yeah. I like
you know
that.
what I mean? And then if you're, so it's kind of like every time you win one trade, it's like you can lose 3 trades.
Yeah.
So you can be really bad while you're learning, but still make money. And then once you master it, you're sitting here collecting, if you have $100 bag, it's $50 every time you trade, $50 to $100. And then at the end of the day, you do 10 of those trades, you're like, okay, I picked up a nice little $500.
Yeah.
So that's
I really
the way.
like the last few things we've been doing, where you've been like trying to make it easier for guys, but it's been really good because before all I was really doing was pullbacks. That was all I was doing. Now I'm getting trades, and now like out of the one trade, I'm getting 2-3 trades out of the one trade.
Yeah. So we're evolving it to like, because I listen. That's why having the live trades important, because I can listen to guys, and a lot of times guys know the trades are happening, but they just don't know how to enter because they're inting 100%. Now, if they understood how a system works, they wouldn't matter, right? So let's say if you have, $1,000, and you say, okay, I'm going to make 10 trades or 5 trades, and I'm going to make each trade $100, right? And if you have a system or a structure that you can follow, then what you would do is on the very first trade that you get into, you would put the entire $100, and you would put your stop loss at 50%, and you would put your take profit at 100%, and then you would take your leverage and put it at 50%, and then you would let the trade go, right? So if it hits 50%, right, you win. Now we already know that 7 out of 10 of our trades will hit the mark, right, and 3 of them will bounce against the guy if he's too early, right? Even if he's a bad trader. So he'll end up losing $50 of his 100 3 times, but 7 times he'll win, and that'll create that. That's why we had the 4x4, because 4 winning trades doubles your money.
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of like the basics. But guys they don't understand that. They're worried about, oh, well, I got the bag. If I lose 50% of the bag, then it's like, well, then you haven't divided your bag up properly.
Yeah.
That's your problem. Like you should have 5 bags. So if you have $50, then you have 5 $10 bags.
Mm-hmm.
And every time you trade the same amount. So if you're trading $10, put $10 in your futures and make your trade. And if it loses, you lose $5 or $5. Then you add another $5 and you trade the next $10. And you do that until you get that trade down.
That's
until you don't
for a
lose.
long time.
Yeah, until
and just take it into spot.
Yeah, and
do
you
50 again.
Yeah, you just do that until you don't lose. And then once you tripled your money, then you make your bag $20. And you triple your money, then you make your bag $30. And you triple your money, then you make your bag $50. And then every time you triple your money, you add $50 until you reach 500. So 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350. Right? But every single time you have to triple your bag before you add $50. And eventually you will get to $500, and then now you're making $250 a trade because you're trading 50%. But the problem is all the guys that are coming in here, we have it's kind of great because there's a bunch of really new guys. So they've never even traded a day in their life. So I'm realizing that they're they're scared to get the first entry because if it goes 5% negative, they close the trade.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
understand that it's going to go 15, 20, 30% negative because they haven't learned yet.
Yeah.
But I can't get information because here's the information I need. I need to know how much percentages it went negative before it went positive. So it went 50% negative and you got stop lossed out, then you need to write that down. And then you need to write how high it went. So if it only went 12% positive and it went negative 50%, and that's one trade, and the next trade it did it again and it did it again, well then you're entering wrong. So when we go back and look at your trades, you're probably not paying attention to the 1 hour RSI or the 15-minute RSI, or you're entering when the 3-minute RSI is on the bottom and you're not letting it bounce. So once we fix the entry, then you're not getting stop lossed out anymore. Once we fix the entry, then we can say, okay, how high do you go in percentages? So if a guy is averaging 20, 30, 40%, then all we know is, okay, well, what you're using 50% leverage, right? And they're like, yeah, okay. Well, then what we need to do is bump you up to 65% leverage so that you hit 50% every time.
Yeah.
So but see, they're not giving me that. They don't give me that data because they close their trade when they panic, and they're the beginning of the course, the first 4 weeks, is to teach you to remove emotions. You're systematically trading. You're making trades based on a system. And once you do that, that takes you to the point where all you're doing is focusing on following the system. That goes up, that goes down. 3-minute RSI crosses down, I enter the trade. So it's simple steps. Once you got the steps down, then you repeat the steps over and over. Like simple. So what I did here was come up with a 3 trade entry to allow the guys to come along and make trades without panicking about what the trade is going to do. You know what I'm saying? So now we just need to walk it through the system to where the guys are just following the basics, right? So I'm thinking I've been doing this all weekend. So on average right now, I'm hitting I'm using a $500 bag, but I'm hitting about $500 a trade. So I'm hitting 100% every time. Yeah, and I'm using it to I let some trades go longer, and they go back the other way, and I'm like, at the end of the day, it's the reason why I'm always taking 50% is because 7 out of 10 times that hits no problem, and 6 out of 10 times it'll go back the other way. So it doesn't matter, how it's doing. It's gonna do what it wants to do.
What you took profits.
Yeah. So if you're just, and I'm like, man, I can find 10 trades a day to make 50%. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when you think about it, if you're making $500 and you make 10 trades, I mean, shit, if you only do 5 trades, you're making 2,500 a day. So that's why we need to just be profit taking every single time, and then changing the simplicity of it, right? So that's the next thing, is doing a 3 entry process with leverage, right? We're going to start off with 30x leverage just because the guys are new, and we need to see what their percentages are, and we need them to learn how to enter properly. Once they enter properly, then we'll be able to make adjustments to their entries, so that way they're entering better and they're not going so far down or negative first, and that way we get them to a direction of just fixing entries. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But we need that information. If I don't know your percentages, then you're not following the system. Then we can't fix what you're doing. But that's kind of like where we're at right now.
I've got to run in about 2 minutes.
What do you got?
Oh, I've got a one in about 2 minutes. I'm gonna have to come off
Oh
and
yeah, yeah, you're good, you're good.
to boy.
Bot wise, I'm gonna jump in my K I'm gonna jump in my KuCoin later on today, and
Yeah.
then we'll make some adjustments to that. But yeah, so that's the new thing we're gonna roll out this week, a 3 trade entry system, so that everyone can, at least get into trade, so I can figure out what they're doing, and then we can kind of like start adjusting. So right here, testing this little magic trade. See how the 3 minute pushed up? It's breaking the 50 line right now. So it would be when that crosses back over on the RSI, or the money line breaks back down, that would be the next entry point, which would be right about now. So now this one did get across the 50 line. So when this does cross back down, we can make this a second entry. But I think we have to make it where it has to break above the 50 line in order to do it, just because it's
Enough
too,
room.
yeah, it's enough room to actually make a difference. Because we have our original entry should have been way up here at the 12.7 or 127 or 128. We don't want to enter lower and actually bring our cost average down. We want to bring it up. So we'd be looking to actually enter at the same price or enter lower. You know what I mean? So we'd want this RSI to go all the way to the top. Even if we have to wait for it to go back down, come up again, maybe we just put it where, no matter, I'm checking it right now, but maybe we just put it where we just don't enter a second time until the RSI gives to the top. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That way it's like, we just wait. That way, if you do the 40% entry, then you're already in enough to make money. So it doesn't really matter. So I think that's what we're going to do, man. But yeah, we'll get later this afternoon. I haven't been to bed yet. So probably later this afternoon, like 8 o'clock where I'm at.
Well, I'll be on this evening, which will be this afternoon for you. So when you're up and sorted and back on, I'll be on. I'll be on later tonight.
How many hours? What time?
So I'll be on. I'd say maybe about 7 p.m., 8 p.m., which is 5 hours back. About 2 p.m. your time. From 2 p.m.
Oh,
onwards.
okay. All right. So yeah, you're about 5 hours. All right, and then we'll do the other shit. All right, get to work, man. Stop messing around.
All right, we can see.
Later, brother.
Later. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
All right. So that's what we'll do here. Why is this? Oh, you know what? That's what the problem is. I got my short way too high. And I got my pos too high. No wonder we're having issues over here. Now let's fix that. All right. Let's get our entries in here. Let's get ourselves set up here. Okay. 99, we'll take that. All right. Here's a 3-minute breakdown. Looks good. Oh. Maybe we'll just make it the top of the RSI. There we go. Second entry, third entry, no matter what, top RSI. So 40 on the first, 20 on the second, and then, or 30 on the second, 30 on the third. We're 100% in on 3 entries. Then we just need data, smallest percent down, biggest percent up. Then we can make some simple adjustments. Okay. That is what works the best. Oof. Took 4 days to get it together, but we are where we want to be. All right, let's see. Let's see. All right. There we go. All right, there we go. Crossing down. Still don't have a cross. Let's get that cross in there. Because this is more like a consolidation move. All right, 1 hour. Crossing over. 15-minute crossed over. Or even waiting for the bounce, right? I mean, even if we take a 15-minute bounce, then we enter. But that would be the second entry, and then the third would protect that entry. All right. What's going on, boys? Good morning. Good morning. How you doing, boys? All right, let's get into some trades here. All right. So then we only have one bounce, which is the 15-minute bounce, and that's all we got to worry about. All right, I think we have our complete version now. Oh, it's been a long couple days, boys, but I think we got a formula that will help every new guy enter, and we can use this across the board. Keep it very short, keep it very simple. It maximizes about 500 on the profits. So can say that I have made a shitload of trades this weekend on a shitty market in a shitty time period for 3 days, and we are we have the numbers that we want. And now we're going to run it out, get some videos done tomorrow, get some class done tomorrow. We will launch this new simple entry platform for the guys who just came in, or for the guys who've been here, where we have everything systematic for everybody. How many times did I enter that up there? Jesus. Oh man, I am tired, boys. Who we got, man? We got Kale. What up, big dog? There we go. There's a 3-minute crossing. That's what we needed right there to confirm. There's the entry. Bada boom, bada bang. There we go. All right, now set some basics here. 200%. Got to adjust this to 20. All right, next move. Take 50% profits. 20% at that time. 20% we go here. Nice. Okay. Second one. 100% profits. We take another 20%. That's pretty much it. All right. So here's our second entry. Then we have one more entry, which let's see where that shows up. Oh. This, my friends, will do the trick. Tested and approved. So now we go for this 200 moving average. We got a 3% move. So now we can turn here. Let me see here. We already hit that one. Let me try this. Negative 180, 182%. Let's go here. Take profits at 100%. I'm actually going to cancel that. All right, there we go. So now we're set up for, what's my target? $1.2050, $1.2050, $1.2060, 300%. Confirm. There we go. What else we need? Stop loss has to stay at least 20. Okay, there we go. Now let's take this right here. We're going to take 150%, and we'll take 20% there. Stop loss 20, and then we're done. There we go. All right, I'm done. There we go, guys. So new system coming, fully checked, everything in there. We're gonna rock and roll. Easy peasy to do. It's easy to win. Easy. Here's a first entry, huge win. Second entry, good win. Everything will come in. So if you haven't joined the academy, guys, step in. We're making adjustments for newbies here. So we adjust on the fly for guys who are new or can't make decisions or whatever happens, but we create a new system for them as well, and that way they can make money while they're learning. Best part about getting a bunch of new people into a trading system is we get to review their trades and then show them how to do them correctly, and then we teach them how to make money. It's not hard to make money, guys. It's real easy when you follow a system and a structure that allows you to be profitable, and then that's pretty much it. So, if you can make $200 a trade and do, 10 trades a week, it's $100,000 a year. So $200 a trade, 10 trades a week, right? $2,000 a week. Do the math. 2,000 times 52 weeks a year. It's $100,000, guys. Welcome to VC Academy. If you want to join the academy, make sure you go sign up at VC. Send me an email at vccryptonation@gmail. vccryptonation@gmail. Other than that, good luck. God bless, guys, and come join us. We'll show you how to make some cash. Pretty easy to do. Welcome to the Discord. As you can see here, the average is 50%. These are our new bots. So we have some trading bots that we're doing that are crushing some numbers right now. We're going to let them out a little bit later. What they do, the trading bots actually follow my trading system, and then they bring in really, really nice gains. So welcome to the thing, man. Send me an email, guys. Other than that, have a great day. I gotta go. Good luck. God bless. And I appreciate all the new students coming in. I love making new entry structures for you, even if you've never traded in your life. However you think, we are able to help you win and be productive, guys. Good luck. God bless, man. I love helping you guys out. And I can't wait and look forward to all your stories in the next couple years. And can't wait to see what you buy yourselves with all the money you